When I started Leathercraft, I had this idea that I was gonna be this super niche, super cool, all handmade, hand-stitched, hand-cut everything. But I quickly realized that once you start getting the orders in, there is just no time to be able to do everything, run a business, have a family, make sure you're taking care of yourself if you are not using machines. Hey, what's up guys? My name is Ryan and I'm the owner operator of Little King Goods here in Morrison, Ontario. Today's video is all about the Techsew 4800. I'm gonna talk about what I love about the machine, some things that I'm not super stoked about, and just overall how this machine could fit into your tool and machine arsenal. Okay, let's get to it. The number one question I get when people ask me about what sewing machine to get is what type of a machine do I get? Do I get a flatbed? Do I get a post bed? Do I get a cylinder arm machine? And the simple question I have for them is, what are you using the machine for? My answer to them pretty much all the time is, especially for crafters who are buying just one machine, buy a cylinder arm with a flatbed attachment. That way you have the best of both worlds. If you want to sew wallets and journals and flat items, the flatbed is perfect. If you want to start sewing gussets for tote bags or crossbody bags or any type of bag, a cylinder arm is an extremely helpful feature because it allows you to get around the bag, move the bag underneath a little bit for when you want to get that gusset stitched just right. So my advice to you is a cylinder arm with a flatbed attachment, just like we have here on the Techsew 4800. I currently have the 4800 Pro version, which includes some of those features that the standard version doesn't have. And that is the drop-down edge guide, the speed reducer, I believe, the laser stitch guide, and the needle positioning system. The drop-down edge guide is an incredible tool to help you stitch super straight lines, especially when you're making wallets or those straight lines of either bag handles or longer stitches on journals. Pretty much anything you want to go straight and has an edge, the drop-down edge guide is the way to go. The 4800 Pro also comes with a laser. I have never been one to use a laser. I personally think it's not very helpful to me. If I've got a drop-down edge guide, a laser showing me where my stitch is going to fall doesn't really help me, and it just gets a little bit frustrating for me, especially when I'm staring at a red line the whole time. Your eyes kind of get that burn mark in there, and it's not really fun for me to use. Some people love it, and that's great. Whatever works for you, kudos to you, but for me, I'm just not a fan of the laser, so I actually removed mine. One little problem I found also with the laser is that when you're putting the drop-down edge guide up, is that the laser prevents it from going up. So the way that it's mounted right now on the machine doesn't really work for me. So that might be something that you could work around or find a workaround for that, but that's just one thing that I found a little bit frustrating. However, the laser does work. It shows you where the stitch is gonna fall, but for me, drop-down edge guide is perfect. Another great feature of this machine is that it does have a knee lift. The knee lift is key. I've never really used a machine without a knee lift until a few months ago when I had to. And let me tell you, it is not fun always reaching in underneath the machine here. I would much rather just use my knee to lift up that presser foot. It is so fast, you get used to it, and it's like second nature. Another feature on this machine, which is kind of cool, is that it has a needle positioning system. The needle positioning system pretty much knows where the needle is at all times when you're sewing your material. So instead of using your right hand to crank on the flywheel here to position your needle up and down, the needle positioning system is either all the way up or all the way down into the machine. So what it does is that it advances the machine one stitch at a time. So by pushing forward on the pedal, it'll do one complete motion or rotation of the stitch. It'll stop. You push again on the pedal, let go, it'll do another rotation and stop. Of course, when you push the pedal down, it'll keep going until you let go, but as you let go, it'll complete one stitch and stay at the lowest position possible. Then you push back on the pedal and it'll raise the needle and it'll stop. This is helpful because you don't have to keep cranking the wheel trying to get the needle up to the top so you can pull your project out, then cut the threads. It's a very nice feature that really helps in the production and the speed of your project. I've got 3 sewing machines here in the shop, and only this one has that needle positioning system. So sometimes when I'm switching back and forth between machines, the machine that doesn't have the needle positioning system, I'm like pushing back on the pedal and the needle's not lifting up, so it gets a little confusing. But I do think that this needle positioning system is a really cool feature, and I think you will enjoy it. Another cool feature of this machine is that it has this knob here that adjusts the height of the presser foot of how high it goes up every time it walks along. Let's just take this tote bag as an example. You have 2 pieces of leather. When this is folded inside out, you're stitching along the gusset line, and then you've got another piece of leather because we have this second part, this 2-tone that we have to go over. When you use that little knob to increase the presser foot, it lifts up higher. So when you're going from a thinner material to a double stack material, it really helps with guiding the needle through and making sure that you're going to be climbing those steps a lot easier. Another thing that I found really cool is that it is a very quiet machine. My Adler, my Juki, they're very loud, very clicky, but this one is almost, it's just like a sleeper. It's calming. It's not super loud, and I like that. That's just another added feature that I think is really cool. It's just a smooth, quiet machine, and I really like that. The machine comes with a light, very, very cool. It's a bendable, adjustable light that I like so that you can really dial in where your light is going so you can see your project lit up very nicely. I think it's a great feature, and it's adjustable. You can move it like this, or you can move it around your whole table. It's really cool, and I really enjoy that. Okay, let's talk about the flatbed attachment. So when I first got the machine shipped to me, the first attachment that I got was a particle board, chipboard thing that was super, super frustrating to get on and off. So I didn't even take it off. I just left it on there, and I just really cringed at the thought of taking it on and off. So here is the first attachment that the machine would come with. It's like an MDF. Honestly, trying to get this thing on and off was a complete nightmare, and I was a little worried. I was thinking about making my own attachment, to tell you the truth, but it was just so cumbersome. These would get stuck. You have to undo them, put them through, then screw them on again, and then the front one would just, it was a complete nightmare. I absolutely hated it. And to tell you the truth, my concern was that I just wouldn't use the flatbed attachment. The good thing about Techsew is that they are really open to hearing suggestions and concerns. They're really good with getting back to their customers. And then this is what they came up with. This is amazing. It's perfect. It's thin, it's small, it goes right in, and it screws down with 2 screws, and it's the perfect flatbed attachment. Taking this on and off is a breeze compared to what it was before. So kudos to you, Techsew, for that incredible flatbed attachment, and I just love it, so thanks. All right, the last thing I want to talk about is something that I'm still working around and trying to figure out, and there is a video about this on the setup of this Techsew machine by Techsew, and is adjusting the stitch length. I got pretty frustrated with it because you can't just adjust the stitch length by pushing where it says push and then adjusting the stitch length. You actually have to push this down as well, the reverse a little bit, in order to engage the stitch length adjustment. I just find that very cumbersome. That's one thing that if I had any complaints at all about this machine, it would be that little thing. There isn't one machine that will fill and fix all of your problems and needs, but I'd say this is really, really close to that. The Techsew 4800 is a medium to heavy duty machine. It's not a heavy duty machine. So that's what the 5100 is all about. I used to have the 5100, but I found it was just too much machine for what I needed. I make smaller leather goods, and the bags that I make aren't like super bulky and big. So I ended up selling my 5100, and the 4800 is definitely in the range where I want to be. If you've got any questions at all, whether what machine to buy, more specs specifically about this machine, you can reach out to Techsew. Ron at Techsew is an incredible guy. He'll answer all of your questions in great detail, and he'll guide you to the correct machine for you. Their customer service is incredible. They have a lifetime customer support line that you can call, especially if your machine stops working or it's malfunctioning. Overall, it's just a great machine. Well, that's it from me. Have a great day. I hope you're doing well. Stay safe, and God bless. Peace.